It's looking nice.
Yeah, this looks lovely.
Can I just tuck in? Tuck in, man.
We have received alien education, and even to the point of no education at all about food. But everybody, as a standard, knows that for physical life and mental health, food is the root of life, the staff of physical life. So how can that not be first? Proving this education is inferior and backward because it doesn't start from the commodity of foods and drinks that give you life. You don't learn of it at all until you reach into your teens if you choose to desire to go on some type of course created by him who's made you eat a quarter of your life and sometimes even your whole life without proper information about food when food should be the first course, the first nursery teachings, the first basic school teachings, the first primary school teachings, the superior college teaching. Here how it's highlighted. You have sucrose, which is a combination of glucose and fructose found in veg and fruit and grain abundantly. But what does he do? He calls it table sugar, and it's white. But sugar is not naturally white. That's your first deception. Then when you read their analysis, their breakdowns, do your Google searches, and then it says added to many processed foods as if it's natural sucrose when it's man-made sucrose, but he cleverly didn't change the name. So in your candy, chocolate, ice cream, sodas, you have this artificial synthetic sucrose that is even making them sick because they are incognizant of the fact that they criminalize everything. Being what did the Amaret Institute scroll say? They are a liar by nature. So the proliferation of diabetes, which certain countries in the Caribbean call sugar and not the word diabetes, they know it more commonly as sugar because you have a blood sugar problems. This is at epidemic proportions. The overweightness because of this artificial sugar, the high blood pressure because of this artificial sugar, the shortness of breath, strokes, short attention span, even onto cancer. Sugar is at the root of it. So every soda you're drinking from the devil. Every chocolate bar you're eating from Iblis or the devil. Every ice cream lick, you are supporting the evil ones, evil physical humans that have provided alien education to us. This means these creations of these anti-nature food that they take and flip, even call it the same name to deceive you as a deceiver, these are anti-nature. Why? Because the sucrose they're using, that they say added to processed foods, well, it's stripped of all fiber, all vitamin, and all minerals. The fiber is essential to help remove the poisons. This obviously means what? If they're doing that to nature and not informing you of what they're doing because it's underhandedness, that means we can't have the same creator. The creator of whites is not the same creator of blacks. Our Jesus is not their Jesus because remember, Jesus is white. You see it on the internet, type it in, and you'll see a proliferation of images in their image and likeness, but their own book in the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation describes him as an African looking person, a black man with woolly hair in Revelation 1, verse 13 to 15, which no Caucasian theologian or pastor or preacher preaches to their congregation. So scholars intentionally ignore this verse where a clear racial description is given of a burnt black skin as a comparative statement to brass being burnt. So burnt, 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 burn is black. And a clear description of woolly hair is undeniable. Fructose, out of all the three main sugars spoken about, glucose and fructose and lactose, fructose is the least sweet of the sugars. You can get it in like fruit, honey, agave. They get it or extract it from sugarcane, corn. But foreigners of nature, which is an appropriate term for them, foreigners of nature created, listen, 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 high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup. What's the operative word there? High. They took fructose and what? Boosted it, heightened it from cornstarch, made it higher in what? Sweetness, outside of its natural sweetness, because ordinarily it's not as sweet. So that is why it's called high fructose corn syrup, to make things sweeter, because again, it is not as sweet regularly as regular corn syrup. So they've made it high fructose corn syrup, and they lace high fructose corn syrup in sodas, in all canned foods, or most of them, bread. Now, people like granola bars and think they're healthy. Well, it's got high fructose corn syrup. Desserts, cereals, bakery, cakes, you name it, because it's a cheap sweetener, a very cheap sweetener, a dangerous sweetener that is known to cause diabetes. It's not that, it's a debate. The devil even put it on the internet. It causes diabetes. It can give you heart disease, and obviously you're going to have a phenomenal weight gain because what? You're consuming sugars, high fructose corn syrup in the form of sodas and these cakes and these bars, bakery foods. That is like taking a knife. This is what high fructose corn syrup is. You're taking a knife and slowly sticking the heart and slicing off pieces. That's like taking a knife and you're dabbing, jabbing the pancreas. It must collapse. And of course, let's talk about the other sugar, glucose. And you know, your body's dependent on glucose. It's in all your veg, fruits, sweet corn, dates, honey. Now, here's something interesting. Dextrose is another form of glucose. And you find dextrose in fruits, honey, and corn. But what would make you overstand the devil or the evil ones? Let's A, B, C, or listen and SEEC. They extract dextrose from corn syrup as an artificial sweetener, use it as a preservative to extend shelf life. Do you remember when you was young, some of us, and you had jam? And do you remember that grayish mold that was on the jam after a period of time? And in Jamaica, and you look it up in the net, they've got it on the net because I looked it up. Your parents would say, if you're in America or Canada, you won't know this, but those in England who come from Jamaican heritage will know. You use the word ginger. I say, yeah, man, the jam have ginger, meaning that it has a mold on it. Well, dextrose is what prevents that mold from appearing. So think about the technology behind this, the science behind this. The food naturally wants to break down because any natural food, any type of food, has a period of living before it disintegrates, deteriorates. No. What this artificial man does, being of anti nature, and an anti-evolutionist in reality, he makes products or takes a form of glucose in the form of dextrose and says, if we pump the food with dextrose, it will have an extended shelf life. Listen, extended shelf life. What is that telling you? Stay on the shelf longer. Make the people buy these products. And what? Eat poisons. That is what? Breaking down your health. So they place it, again, it's in sodas, it's in snacks, it's in all your baked products, it's in processed foods. And you know what's incredible? It's in high fructose corn syrup. So that's two unnatural sugars in there alone. You've got the dextrose and you've got the fake fructose. Teacher Michael made a statement which I paid keen attention to when he talked, and the question was asked about what should one do in order to analyze what they're eating, if they've got sugar problems, or they want to make sure they're not got any sugar problems, or they want to know more about, okay, what is the preventive measures so I don't get sugar problems, diabetes problems, high blood pressure problems, or problems that potentially could manifest in me getting diabetes, which is the prolific disease of Black people today. It's so normal, in the norm. He made a statement and said you need to check the glycemic index of the foods. Now, the glycemic index is a measure. Do you remember when we talked about, let me take a quick left turn, talk about the stupid index? And actually, that term came from an absolutely fantastic scientist called Michio Kaku, the best presenter of modern science today, when he made a statement in talking about the effects of the stupid reality shows. And he used the term the stupid index. And I never forgot it because it made sense. The stupid index. Indexes means you're measuring something. So when you say the glycemic index, it's really just saying how quickly blood sugar rises. Let me measure it. So the glycemic index is telling you how quickly blood sugar rises. Now check it. Do you know what's at the top of the charts? Dextrose is a straight 100. And remember, they're lacing processed foods with dextrose. Much further down is sucrose with 65 and fructose as 19. So check it. You've got fake dextrose, which is really saying fake glucose, fake sucrose, and fake fructose that they're putting in, listen, high fructose corn syrup. Now, what's going to happen to your blood sugar, to your pancreas, to your blood pressure, to your heart and your mind? Obviously, deterioration, then illness, pain, expenses, and of course, death. The Christian God and his people of his kind, they look the same. Whites created it. Blacks inherited this religion as an adopted child, a Black adopted child from the agency called Christianity. What about the Jewish God and his people? Well, it's still their people. They all look the same. If you just look on them, you would know their religion. Unless they dress a certain way, they're one people. It's like saying, oh, Russia versus America. Well, look at them. They look the same. So of the same genetic stock. So the Jewish God and his people look the same as the scientists and his people who created the poisons, the fake sucrose, the fake fructose, the fake dextrose. Again, that was another agency adoption where Blacks in the agency wanted to be adopted by the Jewish religion. So you got Blacks as Jews, an adopted religion. No Black person can be a Jew because the word doesn't even exist in ancient Hebrew. Not even the letter J exists. So it's a silly word, a false word. What's the other one that our people run into? Of course, it's Islam. And that's the Arab government and his people. The difference here is that they are an admixture, which means two distinct racial stocks of whites and Indians mixing together. And that's how you get the Arab. So this makes their God fake, their Allah fake, their Jesus fake, their Yahweh fake, their Adonai fake, their Jah fake, and their Jehovah fake. But yet they say that this God loves them. And the number one source of physical life that they say their God created life for them in the physical, he gives them no information that they're being poisoned on a daily basis. What kind of God, Jesus, Allah, are you talking about? To give them no warnings about a human flesh devil doing this naturally. But Jesus, Yahweh Allah, has no knowledge of it. Otherwise, they didn't impart the knowledge of it to make sure they maximize the life of their physical body and mind. But what does that make the people who created the fake sugars? Well, if they're naturally creating it, well, we'll swap out those people who are pale skinned who created it with freckles and no freckles, with black or brown or auburn or red or blonde hair. Change it out. If you put the devil in there, you see, Satan, the bliss, yeah, the devil, he did it. But now we've proven that it wasn't the devil. They did it. Unless there is a link between the devil, Lucifer, Satan, Iblis, Shaitan, and them. There has to be a link because they're doing it what? Naturally. Meaning they're inclined to, have an inclination to, have a propensity to, have a tendency to, as a natural habit to terrorize food, create artificial preservatives, extend shelf life, corrupt sucrose, modify dextrose, change it, providing you with what? An alternative. Break the word in the middle, put a line there, alter, native, alternative. That what is native in the environment, I alter it because I am the devil.